next little bit that we're going to do, if you go down to an auto place, I went to my brake and clutch shop. You're looking for, we need 4 8mm by 1 1mm pitch thread, so an 8x1 brake bleed nipple. So you need one of those, we need 4 of them, and a length of hose, and twitch up a bit of wire to make a bracket. So we're going to screw that into the bottom of the bowl, and then we're going to run that around there, so when that sits up, it'll sit like that, and you'll see the fuel level come up and down here. Righto, so I've just got a pair of vice clips, and then grabbing hold of the bottom bracket into your vice. We've made sure that they're sitting as level as you can possibly make it for the exercise. Just use a spirit level, so that you can basically run it as close to square as you can. And now we just turn the fuel line on and see what happens. So focus in on one of them. So what we're looking for ultimately is get the fuel in it. Is we're looking for the fuel level to be at where the head of the screw and the washer meet, but we've got that piece of tyre wire in there as well, so that is right at the base of the washer. This one is right at the base of the washer, so it's a millimetre too high, so it's still got to come down a millimetre. And this one is basically exactly the same, and this one is exactly the same, which is what you would expect. If all 8 floats are at exactly the same height, you would expect your fuel level to be exact, unless you have a hole in one of your floats and you've got fuel in a float, which is going to give you a higher reading. So we've set these at 26.7 millimeters. The book says 24 to 26. And we're still a millimetre high. So we'll go through now, we'll take the bowls off, we'll lift the floats. So we're going to lift the number from the base of the float to make it 27, so we make the number higher. We bring the fuel level down because the float won't be able to come up so far. So that's what we're chasing. That's the only way you're going to know where your fuel level is in your bike after you've rebuilt your carburetors. So now we'll go through, pull them down, readjust it, and then we'll put them back on. So we've lifted to 27.7, call it 20.7. So if we look at that, we've got that much more gap. So when we lift our float height, we're shutting down the fuel in the bowl. So that's what we need. So we need to make the float height greater so there'll be less fuel in the bowl. So now it's just a matter of, I'll spin this around. So we need to lift the floats up to do that. So we need to come in from underneath, and we need to bend the little tang down only a fraction until, look at that. So it'll be over on this side this time, but if you can see that one tiny adjustment has cleared that right to there, to that 1 millimetre. So, and because we know all these 8 are exactly the same, we only need to measure our 1 now. We don't need to measure all 8 this time. So just for ease of me getting at it, so we need to lift it up so we come in from underneath. Just bend it that tiniest little bit, which doesn't need to be very much at all. I've probably done this once or twice, but look at that. Righto, so that's adjusted. Now we'll go through, put our fuel bowls back on, put our hoses on, and we'll stick the fuel in it again and we'll see the difference. So, obviously the millimetre's done next to nothing. So what we're going to do, we're going to use this as a learning curve. So I don't know anything about these carburetors. I just pulled them out of the bag like you saw. They were just covered in crap. We don't know the history of the machine, we don't know the history of the bike, we don't know who built them, who put the, if they've gone through and had different parts put in them. So we're going to go through and we're going to adjust the floats, doesn't matter the number, till we get them to the right point. So we've got to drop them another couple of mil. So we'll go through and adjust them and we'll do it again with the fuel level and we'll see till we get it right. Right. So what we just said before is not right, because it doesn't matter whether these needles are the wrong length that way, because we're talking about the float height from there to there. So how far the tang is bent through either up or down is neither, you know, is nothing. So we're just going to lift them. We need to drop the fuel 2 millimeters. So we'll lift the bowls 2 needles 2 millimeters, which will bring it to 29.7, which seems just way out of whack, but we're dealing with fuel levels, not anything else. So that's our new gap that we need. You can see that? So we're just going to work, bring them all up to that level and go from there. I'm just going to turn around so I can see what's going on. So we'll quickly do that. How far are we going to get? A fair way. Fair way. So that's just twisting that, just what we just did then, put those out of whack. So that's right there now. Maybe we can move them that way. If all else fails, you can just do that. But the top of the bowl has to be the top of the, we're looking for 29.7 mil. No, so turn that around and then you can see that they're all three bouncing still, and they're at the exact 29.7, which is 2 mils higher than we would go with. So we'll run with that. Do it all again and see where we end up. Righto, so we just, like before, we just grabbed this fuel line and blew across the top just to make it move, and they've all come basically to where you exactly where I want them, which is the top of the bottom of the wire on the bracket, which will be the washer, which is where the head of the screw will be. So I'm happy with that. So that's the beginning. Now we get into the rest of setting the carburetor up.